Summary and Themes of The Story of an Hour, by Chopin. Summary of The Story of an Hour, by Chopin. Introduction. The story begins with Mrs. Louise Mallard, a woman with a heart condition, being informed that her husband, Brentley Mallard, has died in a train accident. The news is delivered gently by her sister, Josephine, and her husband's friend, Richards. Initial reaction. At first, Louise is overwhelmed with grief and retreats to her room to be alone. She cries at the loss of her husband, which seems like the expected response. Realization of freedom. While sitting by the window, Louise experiences a sudden realization. She begins to feel a sense of freedom and relief. She imagines her future life without the constraints of her marriage, envisioning independence and self-assertion. Internal conflict. Louise acknowledges that she had loved her husband at times, but this newfound freedom excites her more than the love she felt. She whispers the words, "free. Body and soul free." This highlights her conflicting emotions about her role as a wife. Unexpected twist. As she comes down the stairs, filled with a renewed sense of hope and freedom, the door suddenly opens. Brentley Mallard, her husband, walks in alive and unharmed, unaware of the accident report. Tragic ending. Louise collapses and dies instantly. The doctors claim it was due to the joy that kills, but the story implies that the shock of losing her newfound freedom caused her death. Themes in The Story of an Hour. Freedom and independence. The story explores the idea of personal freedom, particularly for women in the 19th century. Louise's reaction to her husband's death reveals her desire to escape the limitations of marriage and societal expectations. Marriage is a constraint. While marriage is traditionally seen as a loving bond, the story presents it as restrictive. Louise feels liberated at the thought of living for herself rather than being bound by her husband's will. Emotional complexity. The story highlights the conflicting emotions of love, loss, and freedom. Louise mourns her husband but also finds joy in the possibility of independence. The role of women. Chopin critiques the traditional roles assigned to women, showing how societal norms often suppress individuality and self-expression. Irony. The story is filled with situational irony. Louise feels joy at her husband's death, only to die when he turns out to be alive. The title itself hints at the fleeting nature of her freedom, as the events unfold within an hour. The fragility of life and dreams. Louise's brief glimpse of freedom is tragically cut short, symbolizing how easily life and dreams can change. Why is the story important? The Story of an Hour is celebrated for its concise yet powerful critique of societal norms and gender roles. It challenges traditional notions of love and marriage, making it a key text in feminist literature.